What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Leg Up Podcast. It's me, Andy Grant, and we're throwing it back because, as you know, we stopped getting guests on for a long time, and the show turned into the Sportscast with me and Gary and Muskie. But I always maintained that I would get guests on again if there was someone cool, and I think for the first time ever, Josh, you've got a Royal Marine looking up to a parrot in absolute awe. It's the one and only cycling Scouser, and I'm Josh. So happy, mate, that you've allowed me to chat to you, mate, and find out about what you do.
Yeah, mate, thanks for having me on. Obviously, we've been exchanging quite a couple of messages since it started. I think you got onto my page about a week after I left, I think.
Mm.
And obviously, you were very supportive from the start. So it's nice to obviously to have a proper chat now and not just a couple of messages back and forth.
Yeah, no, mate. Honestly, I'm so grateful, mate. And it's funny, like without sounding too bitchy. One of the reasons I stopped getting guests on was funny enough, me and you are both veterans. I had a D-Day veteran on my podcast, and I thought, wow, this absolute legend. And I know I've never started to do podcasts just to get numbers, but it was so disheartening to have like an absolute legend of a guy come in, and it might have got maybe 1,000 views or something. And then the next
Yeah.
week, I had someone on who'd done nothing with their life, and it kind of got loads, and I just kind of fell out of love with it and stuff. So I stopped getting people on until I kind of found someone who I thought, wow, I like what he's about. I like the story, and you've brought me out of retirement, lad. So thank you very much. Uh,
No, yeah, nice one. That's mean. There's obviously me doing the cycling thing on Instagram. There's all people see is a little three minute clip of myself, and they don't really know much about me personally. So this is a good opportunity for me as well to let people know who are following me what I'm really like and what brought me to this journey.
That's interesting. So ordinarily, your kind of Instagram, it wasn't like public. It wasn't like popping every week you're doing this and that. Normally, you're quite a private person. And before this,
Yeah, definitely. This has all been a bit of a whirlwind for me. Obviously, I set off 8 weeks ago and I've gained like over 15,000 followers already. I think the page is getting 1 million views every month, which
wow.
to me is a bit surreal. Obviously, when I first set off, I didn't anticipate any of this. I originally set the page up just for one. It was a bit of routine for myself to keep me busy, give me a bit of structure throughout the day, and just a video diary mostly, obviously for all my friends and family back at home. Instead of me sending a lot of videos and pictures to them individually, it's just all online then for them to go on and have a little look and see what I've been up to. So for me, yeah, as you said, I am quite a private person. Obviously, that might be hard to believe, obviously, with me now posting videos every day, but this is all new to me, and I'm just learning on the job so far. Even the social media thing, uh, making reels and stuff like that. Like I had to learn myself before to come away. Like I'm not really from that background, so we're just winging it so far.
Listen, lad, you're doing a great job. I was texting yesterday when I made my first reel, and I couldn't. It took me about an hour, and so I don't know how you do it. How old are you then, Josh? You're saying obviously
I'm,
you're
I'm 35 now.
35. Okay, so let's take it back then. So Old Swan, was it you grew up?
It was, yeah. Grew up in the Old Swan area. Went to Broad Green School. Obviously, it's got a pretty bad reputation, to be honest. I think there's a lot better schools out there. But yeah, good childhood. Obviously, I think I had obviously grew up on the council estate where always had good memories. Obviously, school oldies and all the rest of it. Like just being a typical kid, playing footy all the time, building dens. You know what I mean? Like a good childhood in the throughout the 90s, early 2000s. Like I don't really know if it's like that anymore, but I always had fond memories of growing up, and it was always a good laugh. Enjoyed it.
It's funny, isn't it? I always say the same. I had a great childhood, and it's only when I left home years later and someone said Bootle was one of the most deprived areas in the UK, and I thought it can't be that bad. I had a great childhood, so I kind of know what you mean. Um, Despite that, though, you did want to join the army. Was that something in the family, was it, or something that you always wanted to do?
No, no, no. Actually, I was one of I think I'm the only person to join the military in my family. Uh, I think growing up, I was just a typical young lad. Obviously, always watching like the action movies, having the action men, watching all like the Arnie films and all the rest of it. And I think from there, it just maybe just give. I was always around it growing up, as I said, the movies and stuff, and I just thought that's a bit of me then. And obviously, as I got older, going into my teens, I kind of put all my focus into joining the military. Uh, growing up, it was never really instilled in me to go to university or anything like that. Like, I was never really pushed for anything like that. So through school, it was kind of instilled in me, like, when you leave school, you're a man then, and uh, you need to start earning a wage. So that also played a part. Obviously, I did definitely want to join the military, but it was also in my head that, right, how can I start earning a relatively decent wage at this young age? So yeah, it was those both things that played a part, I think.
And for those who kind of haven't got a military background, obviously the banter between the Marines and Paras are, if you like, they're both the kind of elite forces we've got.
Yeah.
So obviously it breaks my heart to say you chose the Paras over the Marines. I mean, what was that about then?
Do you know what I was thinking about this today? I think I went into the careers office at 16 years old, and I didn't know much about the army at all. Obviously, all I thought was everyone in the army is they're all in the infantry, they're all on the front line fighting the enemy. That was my idea of being in the military, in the army. And I think as I went into the careers office, I approached the obviously, for people that don't know, they might have like a Royal Marine / Royal Navy desk, an Army desk, and like a Royal Air Force desk. I've approached the British Army desk, and I think it was definitely an infantry, and he kind of just led me down that path to join the infantry. And as he sat me down and talked me through like what different regiments there was, the parachute regiment got mentioned, and then I just took a spark to that straight away. Obviously, with the parachuting and stuff, I'm not really fond of heights, to be honest. Like most lads will be in the regiment. But he also mentioned that if you join the parachute regiment, that you get paid more as well.
Mm.
So I thought, and obviously they have got a reputation. It goes without saying. Uh, a lot of people would like to say, well, we're all the same, but we're not. Obviously, as you said, Para-Reg Royal Marines, they are that step above. Of course they are. So it was that. I think it was the fact that they were the step above, and getting that extra bit of money each month. I thought that sounds like a bit of me. That.
It's so funny, you know, we're two lads from Liverpool, both joined the military similar times, both when ends up being a Marine and a Para, and yet we both walked into that careers office not knowing a thing. I remember like week one day when in training, you know, we were packing to go in the field, and the field basically means going on exercise. But at the time, I was thinking, where's this field? What are we going to do in this field when we get there? You know, I didn't have a clue. So it's actually, yeah, it's made me feel a bit better that you were the same. So what was the kind of the learning curve then like for you, kind of going into it, not really knowing, leaving home at 16? It must have been a big change for you.
Yeah, because I joined the military at 16, I went to. We have a thing called the Army Foundation College, Harrogate, in the army. And obviously, I think I had to be, I think, 17 to go to the regular depot where all the training is done in Catterick. So I done a year in Harrogate first, which is like a pre-training course, if you like, because of my age. So I done a year in Harrogate, fine, and then I went to Catterick then, where all the infantry training is then done. And yeah, I went from Harrogate at 16, where you treat like a bit of a child, to then through in the deep end in Catterick then, where obviously you're in amongst the men then. Obviously there's a lot of men and adults, and there's men who are married and have got kids in training as well, you know what I mean? So that was a big step up, and the training was a lot tougher, and yeah, it just got a lot more, it got a lot tougher, shall we say. I'll go into that.
What was your kind of admin side like, the kind of making your bed and ironing your shirts and stuff? Because what you say there, I think it's quite interesting. I was turning up at 17, not really cooked myself, didn't really know how to use an iron. And then, like you say, you've got fellas there who are married with two kids going through the exact same training as you. So, whereas some of the younger lads might be better physically, fitter and stronger, and then but I've never ironed a shirt before. So, how did you find that?
Yeah, do you know what? It wasn't too bad. I think I was always brought up like to be quite independent. So doing bits around the house was fine. But as you said, when you are in training, there's certain lads who are better strengths than others. So
Mm.
straight away you form that bond, and you form a very close bond from the off. Obviously, because you're going through that much shit together, and that much of a bad time in training, the way you're getting treated by the training team and whatnot. As you all know, day in, day out, they're just trying to break you to get rid of the weak.
Yeah.
So yeah, you form a very good bond, and as you'll know, everyone sticks together and tries to help each other out.
And obviously, the padders, again, as much as I kind of like to give a bit of banter, it is, I've got to be super fit to get in. Did you find it all right physically? Was you struggle with that, or was you all right going through training? That side of it?
Yeah, through training, I was fine. I managed to stay fit, which obviously, which is the main thing. And yeah, as you mentioned, it's very tough. Like, we do a thing called P Company as part of the Parachute Regiment. So towards the back end of your training, you do like a test week, the same as you will with the Royal Marines doing certain test events. That's a pass or fail, that. And obviously, some of those events are really, really tough, and that's unique to our regiment. Obviously, the other infantry regiments, they don't really do a test week as such. So our fitness levels are they're a lot higher than the regular infantry regiments.
And how did with you being scared of heights come towards the end of para training when it comes to starting to jump out of planes and
Yeah.
the various other obstacles? I mean, how did you cope with that?
Well, my very first jump, I was the first man in the door, and it's not ideal being first man in the door when you are scared of heights, because literally, as it goes, the instructor will pull you into the door. Obviously, the door's open. Your first jump is a day jump, and obviously you're just looking straight out. Then, obviously, which doesn't help being scared of heights. Say you're number 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever down the stick. You're not seeing outside until you turn into the door to jump out. So being first man in the door, I'm there, like, facing it all. You know what I mean? Which is scary, but it's a rush. You know what I mean? Anyone that's done any kind of like skydiving or anything like that, it is a rush. But don't get me wrong, it's still terrifying. You know what I mean? No matter how many you do.
You probably know, but I always used to laugh thinking that there was some lads who join the padders and the first experience of being on a plane is jumping out of it, which I think
Yeah.
is mad. Because you obviously get some guys who've never been on holiday before, and then the first plane they ever get on, they're expected to jump out of it, which is, I always think it's a mad thing, that really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You know what? That just brought it back. There was a lad on my very first jump who was in my platoon, like through depot, and obviously the military. There's a lot of lads who are from a lot of broken homes. You know what I mean? And it's kind of their ticket to try and make something of themselves. Like, that's very, very common, especially in my regiment. Probably 50% of the regiment, like, are from like broken families. They've had a bad childhood, and that's really, really common in the military. And yeah, on my very first jump, there was a lad actually, and he said, "This is the first time I've ever been on a plane," and then he was about to throw himself out of it, which is mad.
Yeah, mate, and I totally agree as well with the Marines. It was kind of a bunch of really switched on lads who are mega good lads, and also a bit of a mix of lads who've come from, broken homes, had suffered maybe adversity and challenges, and again thought, you know what, this is my ticket to make something of my life. So again, that's similar with that. Mate, just around the time you're passing out in the Paris, then things are going great. You're about to get, your maroon lid, and then obviously you dealt a pretty big blow in your personal life. If you don't mind just going into that.
Yeah. I think I passed out in mid-April, and then I've passed out of training then, and then went to do my jumps course, obviously Bryce Norton, what we've just spoken about. And then I was on my jumps course actually. I think I weren't far off qualifying. I was meant to be doing a couple of jumps that night, I think, that would have got me my wings, and then I was all passed. But then my phone rang, and then it was my mum's. My mum rang me, but it was my auntie who was on the phone, so it was my mum's phone. And she said to me, "Josh, you need to come home." And I said to her, "I'm jumping tonight. Like, I'm getting my wings. You know what I mean? I'll be sorted. Like, can I not just come home tomorrow?" She went, "Your dad's been involved in an accident." And I was like, obviously I didn't know the severity of it. I'm still trying to say to her, like, I'm gonna do a couple of jumps tonight. Can't it just wait? Then she said, "No, you need to come home." And basically what had happened, my dad was crossing the road back at home, and Queen's Drive, obviously most people at home will know it, and there was 3 lanes, and as he's waiting to cross at the lights have gone red, the green man's come on, he's then crossed the first 2 lanes, and as he's got to the 3rd lane, a car's went through a red light, and hit him quite badly. Obviously, he suffered a lot. It was quite it was bad. And on my jumps course, I didn't drive at the time. I only just turned 18. And then they paid for a taxi for me from Brisnorn near Oxford all the way back to the Royal. And then they were pretty much just waiting for me to get to the Royal to see him. And then they turn his life support machine off then. That was about 6 weeks after passing out, 2 weeks after my 18th birthday it was. But yeah, but while all this was happening, I knew that I was going to Afghanistan not long after. So I had a lot to deal with in a very short space of time.
Wow. Okay, I'm trying to unpack that. So, I mean, so you've had your pass out. I'm guessing, did your family go down to your pass out then as well, did they?
Yeah. Family attended me pass out parade in Catterick, and then I think it was 6 weeks later that all this happened. Obviously, 2 weeks after my 18th birthday as well. So I've passed out, 18th birthday, and then that accident happened to my dad all within a 6 week period. And then basically I was given 2 weeks off from the army, obviously to 6 weeks off for the funeral and stuff like that. But I remember them ringing me about a week in, saying, "Are you ready to come back?" and stuff like that. And I was thinking, obviously, I was brand new. Obviously, I'd only been in battalion for a couple of weeks, and obviously I said no, like, you know. And yeah, I had 2 weeks off. I went back to battalion, and then I continued my jumps course and got qualified my jumps. And then I'd done like a little bit of pre-deployment training, got all my kit and equipment for Afghanistan. And then from his funeral, I went to Afghan. It was about 6 weeks later after that. So,
Wow.
so within that very short space of time, I had to process obviously my dad dying, funeral, and then getting in the right headspace to then go on tour. And obviously, I'm only 18 years of age at this point, like really young. So it was a lot to process and take in.
Yeah, I mean, I've lost my parents as well. I lost my mum when I was 12, and I know, I mean, there's never any right age to lose a parent, but I mean, especially for a man, I think 17, 18, around the age when you are just becoming a man properly yourself. Obviously, you've left home, you've got that jubilation of passing out to then just a
Yeah,
few weeks later this. I mean, how is your head thinking knowing that you've got to kind of pick yourself up again because you're going to Afghan in like a month's time?
yeah. To be honest, because I didn't have much time to process it all,
Mm,
and I think, like as sad as it all was and as traumatic as it was, I had to try and put it to bed as fast as I could,
mm,
because with going on tour, I knew that I couldn't really carry that with me.
mm,
If I did, obviously there was a risk of me getting injured from switching off and that being on my mind, or worse, someone else getting injured because I'm not on the ball. So I knew
mm.
straight away that I had to. I don't know. I had to deal with it fast because I had I had more stuff coming up.
Yeah. Did you notice at the time, no doubt it will have changed you, but did you notice at the time it kind of changed your outlook on life, did it? Or has it maybe been later on you look back at you think that it's changed it, or was there a bit of a moment and you thought you could feel a shift?
It's later on, obviously, when me mum and dad had me quite young, and when he died, he was only 36. So I'm 35 now. So it's not until the last couple of years where I've got close to his age where he died. And like at the minute, I feel like I'm a young lad. You know what I mean? I'm fit and healthy. I can I can do whatever I like and go wherever I like. I've got that mindset, but I'm getting that age now where he died, and it's quite a scary thing. You know what I mean? To think back that he was only a young lad himself. Obviously he had kids. He had an 18-year-old kid myself, but he was still a young man. You know what I mean? It's very young for that.
Mate, I totally get it, and not to kind of scare you, but I had the exact same thing when I turned 36, which was the age my mum was. I'd never suffered from anxiety or mental health, and then leading up to my 36th birthday, and for the year of being 36, I started feeling really weird just because it was the age, that my mum passed away, and I
Yeah,
looked into it, and it is quite common to start kind of. I've always been a bit like you, like fit and healthy, and always just. I started thinking about my own life, my own death, and things like that. So it definitely is a thing when you get to that age of the parent when they've died. You do start kind of reflecting a bit more, definitely.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And yeah, and I think obviously something like that happening, especially, is one of the reasons why I have got certain outlooks on life now, and potentially why I found myself here, because I just think life's too short, and you don't know what's around the corner, so just literally trying to make the most of it while you can.
Yeah, no, 100%, mate. So as much as dealing with that, you've also got the small matter of Afghanistan. I'm trying to think back to that time, as again, it was only when me and Josh were speaking yesterday. We actually have been to the same places in Afghanistan. So your first tour of Afghan, one of the biggest compliments I can kind of pay to the paras. In fact, before we get on to that, your pre-deployment training. I remember coming back from one of my weekend weeks away from being on exercise, preparing, and I almost had a kind of mini breakdown to my dad before I was going to Afghan, because it was just like, fuck me, I'm gonna die out there. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of like just getting prepped all the time about what type of enemy the Taliban was, what our task was. We knew that we were going to be taken over from the Paras, so we were getting intel reports, literally what you have been doing. You were taking a few casualties, and I almost had this feeling of I'm going on Operation Certain Death here. It was. What was your feelings like in the kind of lead up just before you got there?
Uh, Mostly excitement. Obviously, it was me first tour. I've just gone through training. Obviously, while I was going through training, we knew we were going to Afghanistan. Obviously, a lot of people, obviously, when they're going through their training, that doesn't really happen to a lot of people. So
Yeah.
we knew if we were successful passing out, we'd go and do our jumps course, get qualified doing all our parachuting, and then we were going on tour. So it was kind of drilled in us from when we were in training, and I think that's why the instructors were extra hard on us, to be honest, because they knew that, obviously, because their friends were already on tour, so they knew that when they were sending us out, they wanted us to be ready.
Mm.
So yeah, I remember going out. Obviously, as you'll remember, when you fly into Afghanistan, you're flying during the night, obviously because of the air threat. And as you're coming into land, it's obviously on a regular flight, it's just windows up, put your seatbelt on. But then flying into Afghan, it's body armor on, helmets on, which that's when it kicks in. Then that's when you know it's real. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
yeah, I've landed in Bastion. My battalion was already out there. Obviously, I was joining them late. Uh, and then a couple of days in Camp Bastion to do little bits of pre-deployment stuff around the camp. Obviously, Camp Bastion's the main British camp in Afghanistan. Done a couple of things there, and then it was like on helicopters. Then going to join your companies, but yeah, it was surreal. I'd say I was more excited, but as we'll get into it, it's when you start getting into those scary contacts that it all comes crashing down on you. That it's not a big laugh, you know what I mean? At first, you think it's all a laugh and it's all a buzz, but then when shit hits the fan, that's when it becomes reality. Then
Yeah, mate, exactly the same view I had. One of the biggest compliments as well, mate, I can give yourself. And what's weird is I actually might have actually passed you, which is really weird when you think back. But you ended up at Fob Inkerman in
yes,
2008. Is that right? Yeah. So
yeah,
that's where I went to. And again, jokes aside, there's so much respect between the Marines and the Paras. You are, the elite fighting force, and I've always looked up to Paras and have massive respect. Yeah, I remember when we landed in Fob Inkerman and we were taking over from you lot. And you're having your head paras of these, big lads, big, rough, tough fellas. They look, you wouldn't want to bump into them in an alleyway in the middle of the night. And yet I seen you all leaving to get on the helicopter that we just got off. And as we were getting off and you were getting on, you just all had that 1,000 yard stare. You all looked so vacant in the face. You look, eyes sunken in. You just looked like you had had a hard time. And it was like, fucking hell, if these look like that now, like what are we in for? So it was obviously a scary time, 2008, 2009. I think in 2009 alone, 108 British soldiers were killed. It was the deadliest year. So that kind of time was a really testing time. And I knew if yous all looked fucked, I knew it was going to be a tough time. So that was my kind of welcome to Afghanistan, seeing all you lads leave for Inkerman.
Yeah, I think obviously a lot of people, when they think of the military, who don't know much about it, they all think that we do the same job. A lot of people who don't know it think, well, everyone in the military must just be out fighting the Taliban. Like it's far from that. Obviously, to paint a picture, in Camp Bastion, there's KFC, there's Pizza Hut, there's fresh food, there's steaks every night if you want it. In Fob Inkerman, it's not like that at all. It pretty much is like hell on earth, you know what I mean? Like I remember arriving in Fob Inkerman and I was like, wow, like people are actually living like this. Like there was obviously there's everyone's eating rations. We were on chlorine water, like really bad showers. I think they were just maybe solar showers or bad shower block anyway. Literally, you go in the toilet into a hole. There's no flushing toilets or anything like that. So even those conditions alone are a real test. Let alone having to go out and fight the enemy every day, and then coming back to these shitty conditions. Like a lot of people wouldn't. I don't even think people at home would understand or they'd know what it's actually like out there. Everyone just presumes that we're maybe sleeping in these air conditioned tents and stuff like that, but it's far from it.
Yeah, it was definitely testing times, and I know Fob Inkerman as well. Just as we were about to go there, I think you might have lost, I think, 2 or 3 lads by a door. I always remember getting told about a door. There was a blue door, I think, and so you were taking casualties, obviously, all the time. I mean, what was that first tour like for you? You know, we spoke about everything you'd went through before you actually even left for Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Afghanistan itself, I mean, how was the tour? How did you find it?
Well, I remember my first patrol quite clearly. Obviously, I think I've been in theatre, obviously in Afghanistan on tour for about 3 days before I went on my first patrol. It was a summer tour, so it's probably pushing 50 degrees. And as you'll know, some of the equipment that you're carrying and the weight of it is an absolute joke. Like, never mind carrying all this equipment and having to try and fight the enemy as well. As 18-year-old kid, obviously, I'm not fully developed. I'm so there's all that to deal with. And then, yeah, my first patrol, we went out. Got ambushed by the enemy, actually. Got pinned down, and it was quite a heavy firefight. And then we managed to deal with it and pushed on. And then, as I've been patrolling through a farmer's field, someone's popped out from behind the wall, and the lad next to me, I shot him in the chest. And obviously, I'd only be on tour probably 3-4 days at this point. And he thought he had a weapon. Obviously, the rules of engagement on my first tour and second tour was probably slightly different. And the rules of engagement were if you think anyone's got a weapon, you can shoot on sight. You know what I mean? That's how it was. And yeah, I remember him dropping straight away in the field. It's probably 100 meters away. And then his wife ran out screaming and was holding him, covered in blood. And I was just thinking, wow, like this is it now. Like this is real. It's not until something happens like that that I think it becomes from being a joke to them being real. Then when you start seeing stuff like that happen, and then yeah, all this happened within my very first patrol. And while this all happened as well, you wanted to. I was more bothered about making a good impression for the senior lads because I was desperate for them to accept me because obviously it's probably the same in the Royal Marines. Like when you join as a new lad, whether you in Afghanistan or not, you get a lot of shit off the senior lads, and quite bad. So from the off, I was quite desperate to try and get accepted by the lads. You know what I mean? Just to try and impress them, so I could just get them off me back.
Yeah, it's the same to me. I suppose the correct word is probably bullying, but it's probably called character building, I guess, isn't it?
Oh, it's severe bullying. That's what it is.
Yeah. I know what you mean because yeah, I was the same. You're trying to impress the lads around you, and I totally get it as well. We had the first few patrols where we were on top of the Taliban, and I never kind of seen anything, but we knew we were in the firefights, and then all of a sudden, one of the lads got injured, got shot, and then straight away it's like, oh, actually, this is actually real now. People can get hurt, and I
Yeah,
think it's the first time you see someone, isn't it, who's been hurt, then you think actually this is real life now, and it's a lot for a young lad to take in as well. Like, forget about what you've just been through as well, but you imagine anyone starting a new job, you're trying to fit in, you've just had this massive personal tragedy. Now you're fighting a war in another country, it's 50 degrees, you're carrying all this kit, you're 18. I mean, it's only when you actually sit down with someone who's been through it and you reflect, you realise just how fucking mad it is, isn't it, really?
yeah. Obviously, when you're there, I say to people, it's just kind of like a big video game. Like when you're there, it doesn't feel like real life at all.
Mm,
And then yeah, it's just very bizarre the stuff that goes on. You know, you I don't think. Well, I personally wasn't really taking any of it in until I left, until I got home, or maybe a couple of years down the line, where then I've looked back on it and thought, like, fuck me, like that's some mental stuff you're doing. Like a lot of the time, well, you are in contact with the enemy virtually every single day, whether that be
mm,
small arms, a big firefight, or a suicide threat. Obviously, as you know, suicide threat comes over the radio, if you like,
mm.
all the time. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not until you look back when you get home and you reflect on it that you think, like, that's some dangerous stuff.
Yeah. I did a thing with some of the lads, and the joke and call me Uncle Albert sometimes telling these stories, and sometimes I can't even believe it was me that was part of these stories at times. Um, so mate, you survived obviously the first tour without unscathed. You ended up
Yeah,
going back out to Afghanistan a
yeah,
couple of years later, and you actually
yeah,
got injured yourself on that tour.
I did. Yeah, obviously, I'll go into that now. It was the 23rd of December, so it was 2 days before Christmas. Uh, we were going out in the morning. We were going to a small patrol base that was down the road, if you like. And obviously, we've set out that morning. We had some lads at the front with valens. Obviously, for anyone that doesn't know, a valen is just a metal detector, if you like, that's used to search for IEDs in the road. Obviously, we had four lads at the front with valens looking for IEDs, and I was behind as a cover man. Obviously, on that tour, I was a GPMG gunner, like a machine gunner, if you like. So I was behind the valen man as a cover man. And then, yeah, out of nowhere, I just felt the worst pain I've ever felt. Uh, I was shot by a obviously enemy sniper. It was only a single round. It weren't a big firefight, and the nearest compounds I can visualize it now were probably about 400 meters to my right. And yeah, initially I felt pain in my back. What had happened is the round had went through my front body armor plate, and my and got stuck in the rear plate, and the rear plate had took all the force. That's why initially I thought I'd been shot uh, in the back. But yeah, because of they believe that I was shot with an AP round, an armor piercing round. Obviously, those rounds are designed to go through like soft skin armor. Uh, because it went through the front plate so easy, it literally just went through like butter. But yeah, as I've been shot, uh, I've dropped my gun and I've been propped up in the road with my gun, so my muzzle is stuck in the ground and the butt's in my shoulder, and I'm propped up. So I've managed to kick the butt away, fall on the floor, and then my 2IC at the time and another lad uh, dragged me into like an irrigation ditch to drag me into cover. And then straight away, one of the lads next to me, who was in my section, ran over, got my gun, which was the right thing to do. Got my gun and started engaging those compounds. But there was only a single shot. Also on my tour, a lot of the GPMG gunners were getting contacted by snipers because we had the most firepower in the section. Obviously, if you were a sniper and there was 8 lads, you're probably going to shoot the one with the most firepower. Like that's what they were doing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mate, there's so many similarities between our story. I keep on having to stop myself from jumping in and saying, "Oh, I was that as well. I was a GPMG gunner as well." Um, Mate, so at the time, I mean, you get hit. Is it daytime? Is it night? Are you thinking like, "Fuck, they've got me"? I mean, what are they? Can you remember back to what the initial feelings were?
Yeah, I remember everything like it was yesterday. It was about 9:30 in the morning, so it was a morning patrol. We were actually on a patrol. It was just a resupply. We had armored vehicles with us, and we were going to the next PB just to get stuff for Christmas. Actually, stuff for Christmas dinner, ammunition, food, water. Just a little resupply patrol it was. And yeah, as I've been shot, the force, I say it felt like I let someone, like I've stood there and let someone hit me with a sledgehammer. Like that's literally the force I felt in my body. And then as I've hit the deck, I wiggled my toes straight away because I thought I broke my back initially. I don't know why I've done that. I must have seen it on something or heard it somewhere. So straight away I've wiggled my toes, and I knew that I hadn't broken my back. Then I thought sounds like we're good. But then the second thought straight away was I'm gonna get kicked out the army. Like that was the second thing I thought. Like not even like I might die or anything. I just thought like shit. Like my career's over now. Like what am I gonna do? And straight away like I just started to get worried about that, which is probably the wrong thing to worry about at that time.
That's mad, isn't it? How that's your first thing about your kind of career. And I mean, I guess that's what it does to you, doesn't it? You do. I mean, I love my time as well. I'd do it all over again. But it's just mad in that moment when you actually could die. You're thinking, I just don't want to leave the army.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I was dragged into a ditch at the side of the road, if you like. And then we had a medic in one of the armored vehicles with us. Uh, I won't mention her name, but she was brilliant. A female medic. She was absolutely unbelievable. And she's then come over to me to start giving me first aid. She took my body armour off, and I've said to her, I've been shot in the back. And as she's cut my shirt off, obviously, for people don't know, when gunshot wounds, it's kind of like a funnel, if you like. So normally entry wounds are quite small, but exit wounds are normally a lot bigger. So she said, "You've been shot in the front." And then when she said, "You've been shot in the front," I knew that it went for my body armour then. But yeah, obviously, people will probably notice now on my videos. I've had a couple of people message me and go, "What happened to, like, what's happened to you?" You know what I mean? Obviously, because I am quite a like a private person. Like, I've never even really mentioned, well, I've never mentioned it on any of my videos, but you will start to notice now. I've been shot in the stomach, entry wound in the front, and my back has kind of been blown out then. Obviously, there'll be people probably going back looking at all my videos now to try and see, but you'll see me back. I've got an entry wound like that on the front, and my back has been blown out, but you'll see. And then, yeah, she's started giving me first aid then at the side of the road. There was no more threat from the enemy. There was no more fire coming. And then they got me in the armored vehicle, and then got me back to our main camp, waiting for the helicopter to come in, the mate. But I was given one morphine auto injector in the leg, like a morphine jab. Still felt bad pain, and then after that second morphine pen in the leg, I was sound. And I was just like chatting to everyone, like nothing had happened.
It
No
just shows you as well, doesn't it? When you kind of look back and reflect, just how amazing and professional like the job is that the guys do on the ground. You say that medic there, with you think about the tens or hundreds of people who are involved in getting you out of there. It's a proper show of teamwork, isn't it?
yeah, like it's amazing. Like obviously, 20 minutes before that, we could just be all having a laugh and a joke, but when you need to, like, the switch just flicks, and you're like, people just go into their job role and become experts at it. You know what I mean? Like that's what I like. It can all be a bit of a laugh and a joke, but then when it comes to it,
Yeah,
everyone's got a job to do, and they do it good.
yeah. So they did do a good job, as you're still here now. You survived it. I mean, can you remember then much about your recovery? You know, the hospital and rehab and things like that.
Uh, I flew back from Afghanistan. I think it was late Christmas Eve, and I think I arrived in Birmingham Christmas Eve in the evening. Obviously, for those that don't know, the military have a ward in Birmingham in the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. So I arrived in Birmingham, and I actually see my family for the first time on Christmas Day. It was so of all days, you know what I mean? It was Christmas Day, and initially I was in hospital for 4 weeks. That was my first little bit in hospital. I had to end up going back because he had a bit of further things happen. But yeah, I can't remember the first week or so in hospital. I don't know whether that was just in and out of consciousness, or if they gave me something to sedate me. I'm not sure, but for the first week or so, I can't remember anything. Very little, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was the same. I can't remember much about those first few days. Was it then on your mind a bit more, or was it being kind of explained to you whether you could stay in the army at this point, or were you kind of still worrying about whether you could, or like what your recovery was going to be like?
Yeah, it was always in the back of my mind and a bit of a worry that I might get medically discharged, because even at this point, a couple of weeks later, I still didn't want it. As I said, I joined the army at 16. It was all I ever knew, and I loved it. Like, even with all that happening, that didn't put me off. But yeah, I think it's not until I seen like a couple of like medical professionals, and they said to me, "No, like, you're gonna be fine." I think they gave me like 7 months off, so I went home. I just sat at home for 7 months, just with no proper rehab at first, just to heal up and just get a bit better. It's not until then I went back to my battalion after 7 weeks, 7 months of sitting at home, sorry, and then I started like a small rehab program then, which it probably took me about 12 months just to be able to sit up, like, unaided. You know what I mean? Like, obviously I suffered pain in my stomach for probably 12 months. Obviously, as you'd imagine, it, it was a hard thing to get over. Like, because I think what was injured was, or damaged, was my stomach, bowel, kidney, spleen, and liver, I think.
Wow.
But obviously they described that as like not as non-vital. So I think literally there was a picture somewhere. I seen myself on the operating table, and all my organs were just on top of my belly. And I think it was a case. I think it was a case of just stitching everything up, stuffing it back in, and stitching me up. So
Wow.
yeah, but I think because it did go right through the body armor, if the round probably would have went 6-10 inches higher into my chest, it would have been a completely different story then, for sure. So I was lucky in that sense.
Have you still got that around?
No, my body armor plates went missing, didn't he?
Mate, I mean, physically, I mean, it must have been horrendous to kind of get used to, but I mean, mentally as well. I'm just thinking, a few years previous to that, you're still a young lad. Obviously,
Yeah.
you've just lost your dad a couple of years before, and you've done now 2 tours of Afghan. You've seen everything that goes on in Afghan. Then this has happened to you. Like, mentally, over that 7 months, how were you kind of just coping with everything that's happened? The previous few years.
Do you know what? I've always coped well, and I think it's important to add, at this point, I'm only 20 years of age as well. Obviously, there's a lot of people at home now who's 20 years of age who can't even probably boil an egg. You know what I mean? So to do two tours and go through quite a bit of shit at that age is also a lot to take in. But yeah, I dealt with it well. Mentally, to be honest, I think I've never had a problem with that. And obviously, I can only speak for myself. Like, I know a lot of lads that do struggle, and a lot of lads that have took their own lives as well. To be honest, like, I don't think that's spoken about as much as it should. Like, I think there's probably more lads who served in Afghanistan who've took their own lives that there was actually killed over there. You know what I mean? Like, it's, but yeah, personally, been fine up until now. You know what I mean? I don't know what might happen down the line, or something might be triggered in years to come. But so far, mate, no, I feel mentally, I feel solid.
Good. No, it's good to hear, mate. It's weird, you know, it can affect some lads and other lads. Again, I'm like you, touch wood, all right, talking about it and stuff, and seem to be okay. But one thing that I've noticed with you as well, mate, is you different to my career, is you end up staying in. So you've recovered from your injury fully,
Yeah.
and ended up staying in. Whereas when I was injured, I pretty much done my rehab and then left the Marines. How did you find?
Yeah.
How did you find your career kind of went from point of injury to then actually you deciding to leave?
Obviously, from getting fit again, my career, I think that my career just went like that, to be honest. Obviously, I managed to get promoted twice. And obviously,
You've also got
promotion
this
courses.
cool as fuck war story now as well, which adds a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, like that always helped. But obviously, when the new lads joined, it was always kind of like, have you heard about him? You know what I mean? I tend to forget about it now. Like that was 2010. It's not until like have me top off on holiday or something, and there's always someone who's a bit nosy and go, "What happened there?" You know what I mean? But I tend to forget. Like I don't have any problem speaking about it at all. Like if someone asks me questions about what happened or life on tour, like I'm happy to speak to them about it. Like it won't really trigger anything. But
yeah.
It's a cool scar to have now. Like
it's a great story, lads. Great story. So yeah, you were in no kind of no mindset to kind of think, right, that's me out the army done now. You're happy to continue in, and like you say, your career started going on the rise.
Yeah, that obviously I got injured in 2010, and I didn't actually leave the military till the end of 2017. As I said, I got promoted twice during that time, and yeah, my reason for leaving was just obviously, as you'll know, we pulled out of Afghanistan in a fighting role in 2014, and then we just started doing the same overseas exercises. Then obviously Kenya on a cycle, going to America on a cycle, all the local exercises. It just becomes the same old. So because I knew that we weren't going to Afghanistan again in a fighting role, which is quite weird for me to even just say that out loud, that I thought, like, well, what's the point if we're not going back on tour and we haven't got a job to do? While I'm still relatively young, I'll get out and try and make a career doing something else. But no, I don't regret any of it at all. Loved it, and it shaped it shaped me as a person, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was going to say it's so good. I think already for people to we've even gotten into the cycling, yeah. But I think it's for anyone who's listening now, it's maybe not as much as a surprise now why you're doing something as crazy as this, knowing that's what you've been through in your life. Do you know what I mean? Just before then you get into the cycling, you're leaving the military. It's a scary prospect. I mean, what did you then do job wise to kind of? I mean, did you have ideas of challenges on the horizon, or was it just I need to get a job and earn some money? What was the kind of thinking?
Well, just before leaving the military, obviously, when you're leaving the military, try and set you up with like courses to set you up for when you leave. And I'd done a couple of courses to work on the railway, but my plan was when I left the military was to go backpacking, which I did. So I've left the military and I went backpacking a week later. So I've went off around Southeast Asia, and that probably gave me the bug for travel as well. Also, for one of the reasons why I'm cycling. So it's not until I got back from traveling that it hit me then, like that I was out of the military and what am I going to do? Obviously, I did have those qualifications to work on the railway, but there wasn't much work out there, and obviously everyone was fighting for the same positions. So yeah, I found myself in a couple of low paid jobs, just doing what I could, and yeah, I struggled at first, to be honest. I struggled massively, just because I've gone from this job up there, seeing myself like as a superhero, to then doing these low paid jobs where I weren't really valued. So personally, it was a lot to take, and I think it was only a couple of weeks after getting back from traveling, I was looking at ways to try and get back into the military. Then I was messaging my mates that were still in, saying, "Do you reckon you can have a word with him?" or looking at applications online. So it was a big struggle when I left.
Yeah, I think I think what you've just described there, mate. I think what everyone feels, especially if you've been in the likes of the Marines and the Paras, it's almost like you need to almost check your ego a little bit, don't you? You almost feel like
Yeah,
I'm too good to be doing this now. I was a Royal Marines Commando, you know what I mean? And it is a big kind of shock to the system, I think. Yeah. Um. So you end up then getting into the work, the rope access work and stuff in the end,
yeah,
and that ultimately becomes the thing that funds what you're doing now. So was it a case of like just let's earn as much money as possible for a set amount of time, and then I'm gonna go and do this big challenge? Was it? I mean, what was the thinking of? Because I know you've done obviously Everest Base Camp, haven't you, and a few other little ones. Was it
yeah,
just a case of let's earn money, go on an adventure, earn money, go on an adventure? Is that how you kind of life's then been?
yeah. Since leaving the military, and then well, I started doing jobs where I was earning decent money, to be honest. So I was lucky enough where I could go on more adventurous holidays. So I done Everest Base Camp, Annapurna Base Camp. Uh, I think it was last year I went to Egypt, and stayed in the desert for 6 days with the Bedouin. We just had camels. There was only a small group of us. There was no other tour groups out there. Yeah, for 6 days, and 3 camels carried all the food, all the water. There was no tents. There was nothing. We were sleeping on the desert floor. We
Wow.
actually spent one night. There was an opium farmer in the middle of the Sinai Desert in Egypt, and we spent the night with him. Obviously, sitting around the fire. There wasn't much English. They were translating for us, the guides, and we were just drinking tea. Like, I've always had that since leaving the military. I've always tried to. I think I've always been chasing the adventure and that thrill,
Mm.
and I found out very quickly that like the 2 week all inclusive holidays, like that just weren't for me. Obviously, each to their own, but like I just couldn't. That just weren't going to give me that thrill. And then I think it was just a couple of YouTube videos where that sparked this idea, and I just went down the rabbit hole of YouTube, and then literally really got excited about cycling around the world. And yeah, and then the last couple of years I was in a place where I could make it happen. So pretty much the last 18 months, I really knuckled down then. Obviously, working hard, putting in all the shifts I could, all the overtime, and just saving up as much money as I could. And then we really started planning then, and making it a reality.
It's good, mate. So that's probably a good place to start because I think one of well, I've got loads of questions, but some of them were, I think people think that maybe, well, they obviously don't know, but they think that someone's just come and give you a load of money and said, yeah, Josh, go and have a good time. You've obviously have grafted your ass off for
Yeah.
years to save up enough money. I think one of the first big questions was like, how much money have you set aside to kind of to last you?
Well, I've planned about 3 years, and my budget is like 30, 35 pound a day. And for people at home, if all their bills were all I'm paying for a lot of the time is food and water. So
Mm.
for people at home, £30 even at home would go a long way. If they went to Aldi and they're just buying their 3 meals a day, it would go a long way. You know what I mean? Obviously, I try and wild camp as much as I can. There's 2 reasons. It keeps the cost down, obviously, and I just really like it. Obviously, a lot of people online when they're watching my videos, I always try and find quite good wild camping spots, and I get a lot of comments saying like, "How do you find these spots?" You know what I mean? And obviously, some of the places that I have camped, it's a lot better than just waking up in a hotel room. You know what I mean? Sunrise, you've got that on your doorstep. So yeah, wild camping keeps the cost down massively. But yeah, and as you can imagine, cost of living at home compared to Bosnia, say, your money goes a lot further. So I try and spend about £30 a day. So depending on what I'm doing.
It just shows you as well. So you've had in your head then for that couple of years, like, this is what I'm saving for. Do you know what I mean? That's been the big driver for you when
Yeah,
you're going to work and all that. Like, that's going to be me in a couple of years on my bike gone. Um, so the actual planning itself, then, obviously you started off obviously in England. I think I followed you when I wrote down the countries in order when you got to. So obviously Holland was the first one, wasn't it? So did you get the ferry then to Holland? Was it?
yeah.
Must have been like,
It was on the third of August. I set off. I got the ferry from Hull to Rotterdam. I landed in Rotterdam and then just started to make my way through Europe then. Obviously, at the minute, as we speak, I'm in Montenegro today. So country number 9 as we speak. And then from here, I'll be going Montenegro, Albania, North Macedonia, Greece, then to Istanbul. I need to be over the Turkish border by the 1st of November because as Brits now, we only get 90 days in Europe. I'd like to stay longer. Obviously, a lot of people give me all these recommendations, which I'd love to go to them all, but I'm starting to get a bit pushed for time now. So we'll have to start less chill days. I'll have to knock the ale on the head a couple of days maybe and just get up a bit early, but I doubt it.
Well, let's get into all that then, the logistics of it and that then. So have you had to find like you're spending a long time planning? Maybe is it like just a few days ahead or weeks ahead? I mean, things like that. I wouldn't even have thought of the whole EU thing. So have you had to like do loads of planning?
When I left, I had an initial route in mind. Obviously, going through Europe, there's a lot of cycle routes. They're called, for anyone that's interested in this type of thing, they're called the Eurovelo. And there's the Eurovelo 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. There's loads of different routes. So a lot of bike tourers doing what I'm doing, they tend to follow these same cycle routes. So it's quite easy getting through Europe. So I had a rough route already, but it's not until maybe the night before or the morning of that I'll actually plan my route in detail. Because as you can imagine, if I'm going to be cycling for 90 days, I can't plan that much in detail. It's too time consuming, and also a lot of the times you'll get to there's road closures or so you need to go on an alternative route. So mainly the night before or the morning of we'll plan like that day's ride.
I love already the attitude. I remember one of your first videos and someone said, like, what training have you been doing? And you said, I'm going to be on the road for 3 years. I've got time to get good on my bike.
Yeah. I think people probably still think I'm lying now. Like, I'll tell you what I used to do. Like, I lived by the airport before I left. I used to ride my bike from Speak Airport, if you like, through to Hale Village, and there's a pub called the Charter Hale in Hale Village, and it was probably about 4 or 5 k's down the road. I'd cycle from mine to the Charter Hale. I'd sit in the beer garden, have a couple of pints, and then I'd cycle back. Like that's honestly all I'd done. And like I didn't want to. Also, I didn't want to put myself off. I thought I don't want to set off doing all these 100k rides because I might hate it, and I might think I've got 3 years this to come. So my mindset was I'll just deal with that when I need to. if I hate it, I'm in the Netherlands and it's too late, so you'll have to just do it. Also, it's like I never rode my bike fully loaded until I rode off the ferry in the Netherlands. So because I pushed my bike onto the ferry in Hull, and so the fella who's letting all the cars off the ferry, he's like that to me. Go on, and I've jumped on my bike. Obviously, it's a 50-kilo bike, fully loaded. And I've been wobbling like down the ramp, and I thought, wow, like I am so unprepared here. Like even like my Garmin GPS, like because it was an overnight ferry, I was looking on YouTube while I was on the ferry, like how do you plot a route, on this GPS?
Like, brilliant, that, mate.
But that didn't put me off because I knew what I was like personally, and I thought we'll just deal with it. Like we'll make it happen. You know what I mean? Like. As long as you've got that mindset where I thought we'll just deal with it. Like I know what type of person I am, and so far I'm in country number 9, and it's working out so far.
It's really going well, yeah. Do you think then with what happens to your dad, getting in the Paras itself, the things you've seen in Afghan, your own personal resilience of recovering from being shot, do you think that has give you that attitude now to think, listen, it'll be all right?
Yeah, definitely. Like what I'm doing now, I don't want to downplay it in any sense. Like it is a massive task, and it's tough. But as we were speaking about the other day, like for stuff that we've done in the military, physically and mentally, like we've been in a lot worse places, a lot darker places. So this just my thinking is I've done a lot worse. Like when it's life and death, like you can't really get much worse than that, can it? So everything I come across nowadays when I'm cycling, I think, come on, like you're only on a big bike ride. You know what I mean? That's literally what it is. I'm just on a massive bike ride. Like that's how I see it.
It's a great mindset, lad. Um, Coming back to more of the logistics on this big bike ride, you say. I mean, what is the kit you're carrying?
Uh, Camping equipment. Obviously, I've got small tent, sleeping bag, all your regular camping equipment. I haven't got much clothes, stuff that are cycling, 2 pair of shorts, couple of shirts. I opted for this. I didn't leave home with any shirts actually, and now that's kind of become my little thing now that I
I
wear
remember
these
seeing your little
shirts.
Instagram thing on the shirt. Yeah, it was good to
Yeah,
see the
do
little
you know
transition.
what it was? I got sunburnt really bad one of my first days, and like shirted is nice and light, aren't they? And I could unbutton it. So I was sunburned that bad. I thought I need a shirt to cycle in, and and then yeah, since then I've adopted the shirt. Then that's my little thing now. But
Yeah.
yeah, just a couple of spare clothes, cooking equipment, and yeah, just a small toiletries. Not mad, you know what I mean? Like my bike weighs 15 kilos on its own. It's a steel frame bike, really heavy, heavy duty. It's steel framed, obviously, so it can carry all the weight, and it's easy to fix. If I'm in a country, i.e. somewhere in the Middle East, and there's a crack frame or something, I'll just get someone to weld it. You know what I mean? That's the whole
Mm.
point in having a good solid steel frame. But yeah, all my gear's 50 kilos, including all my water and stuff. So it's a heavy bike, but it's a I could probably ditch a couple of kilos, course I could.
Mm.
But I'm on a long tour. Like I come across people that are touring for a couple of weeks, so
Mm.
they've probably got like a pair of clothes that they're cycling in and a spare set. Where I like a bit more comfort, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
especially as I get into Asia, I might fancy 3 weeks off in Thailand. You know what I mean? So I'll
Oh.
be able to just to enjoy myself a bit more. I've got those luxury items there.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to ask as well. Are you being quite kind of like militant with it in the sense of like, I've got to go this route, I've got to do that, or are you a bit like, do you know what, I like it here, I'm going to have an extra day here? I mean, are you being quite flexible, are you?
Yeah, definitely. When I set off, I think with bike tourers, you kind of get the bike tourers that they have distance in their head for each day. Like I have in my head, I have places that I want to see. That's how I plan my routes. Because I think it's a shame to cycle 90 days through Europe and not take any of it in, or not,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of places I've came across that I've never visited before, and I want to see them if I'm
Mm.
traveling all this way. But there's a lot of bike tourers where if they're not doing 100, 120 kilometers a day, they'll
Yeah.
probably get quite upset with themselves. But I aim to just to by the destination, and just take as much in as I can, and just
Mm.
enjoy it.
I'm glad you said that, mate. How many times, you will have done it. You've been on exercise, you're climbing up a mountain, and you just got your head down and you're walking. You're not looking at the surroundings, are you? So I imagine for you now, it's so easy to just, right, we've got to get to A to B, let's go, and not actually look up and think, fucking hell, look where I am.
Yeah, because also I get asked a lot, like, why do I cycle alone? And purely because I can just, I'm my own boss, and I can do like what I want. As I just said, obviously, if I was to join a group of lads now, or whoever, group of girls cycling, we've probably all got different goals, you know what I mean? And also the budget comes into that a lot as well. Like say I'm cycling with a group of cyclists, they might be on they might have a smaller budget, or they might have a lot bigger budget than mine. So we all have different goals, while cycling. But I also really enjoy being alone. Like
Mm.
I get asked quite a lot, do I get lonely? And I've been away 8.5 weeks now, and I haven't for 1 second felt lonely, and that's honest. Like I think before I came away cycling, I'd done a lot of trips abroad on my own anyway. Uh, so I'm quite used to it. But
Mm.
no,
So
no,
this time round, do you think this time round the social media has helped with the loneliness? You are speaking to all these
yeah,
people all the time as well.
yeah, definitely. Uh, it's been mad, to be honest. We'll go into the social media. Like, as I said, setting off, I didn't anticipate it to be as popular as it has been. And obviously people are really invested. It was only yesterday. I had the day off the day before, and I didn't post a video yesterday, a daily video. And I have people on my Instagram messaging me going, "Are you okay?" and all that. I'm like, just a lot. I'm having a day off, just. But you know what? Like, but that's nice of them. You know what I mean? That they're thinking of me, thinking maybe something's happened to me, or I've been injured. But no, the social media definitely helps, because I'm busy, and I'll always try and reply to everyone if I can. But sometimes it just gets too much, like, and for people that are listening, like, if I don't reply to you or whatnot, it's because I'm not being rude. I'm probably just, I'm tired. And
you're not too big time. You're not being rude. You promise, no.
no, like, I have in my head, like, I'd say to someone, if you were to get home from a 12-hour shift and have 50 text messages off people, I can guarantee you wouldn't reply to them all. You know what I mean? So, I'll always try my best, because I love it. You know what I mean? And all the messages are really supportive. But also, sometimes after a hard day, I just wanna put my phone down and just get my head down and just and try and start fresh. You know what I mean?
And what have you found the kind of general responses from people seeing you, like, kind of doing this? I mean, from looking from the outside in, I think people will see, a lot of people will see themselves in you, someone who's maybe got the bottle to do something what they've always wanted to do. So I think a lot of people will
Yeah,
probably be living their lives through you. Is that kind of what you felt?
yeah, that's what I get a lot. People always message me that they say they feel like they're on this adventure with me. And also, I think I'm doing this journey for people that can't do it themselves. Obviously, or they physically can't do it, or maybe they financially can't do it. Or I also get a lot of messages saying, like, obviously they've got young kids, so they've got different priorities, obviously, which is fine. So they're really enjoying me watching my videos and seeing me do it.
Mm. Yeah, no, well, that's one of the reasons I did it, to kind of live my life through you. You know, the other thing I really like about you as well is, one, you come across so authentic. You're clearly just being yourself, and obviously everyone likes you for being you. So that's, I think, obviously a massive, just a positive for you to know that you're a good person. But I love personally seeing someone doing something cool as fuck, number one, but also you're not like this, chiseled athlete. You're like a beer at the end of the day, which is,
Oh yeah,
you're a man of my heart straight away. And I just think at the moment, social media is full of kind of extremes. You've either got to be like some serious kind of alcoholic drug taker, or you're either this kind of 5 in the morning showers, climbing mountains. You're my kind of man in the middle for this. You know what I mean? You're doing this amazing bike riding, but also you're just a normal fella who likes having a beer as well. So I think that's what's really great about it for me as well.
yeah. Like, I think when I started doing the videos, obviously I've never been into this social media thing, making videos and that. This is all brand new to me. And I think before I came away, I think I was trying to, like, record myself really awkwardly, because I've never done that kind of thing. And I think I was kind of like pretending to be someone else, like trying to act. And then I was thinking, like, what am I doing? Like, this is embarrassing. You know
An
what I
American
mean?
accent and all kinds, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just like, wow, like, what's happening here?
Mm,
And then, yeah, I managed to just shake that and thought, like, stop trying to, like, be someone else. Like, because I think on social media, if you try and be fake, you'll get found out really fast, because especially what I'm doing, people are seeing me every day.
mm,
It'd be too hard to keep up. You know what I mean? So you just,
yeah.
and I thought, just be yourself. And then luckily everyone's enjoying it a lot more than I thought they would, to be honest. Because for me, I think I'm only pedaling around on a bike, like, drinking a couple of cans. Like, it's not that exciting. But I think people are liking it because they see me as just one of their own. I am just a working class lad who's just worked hard to get here.
Mm,
Like, as I said, I weren't born with a silver spoon. Like, I weren't left all kinds of money to go travelling. I wish it was, because it would have saved me all that graft I just done for a couple of years. But Yeah, I think they see me as just one of their own, and I'm just a normal lad who's just having a go at living life. You know what I mean? So I think
No.
people are just enjoying that.
It's a great example, mate, and I love seeing on my own people are following Instagram, people sharing your story as well. Because I'm just trying to get more people invested in it because it is a great story. The countries you've been through so far, I mean, I've just been looking before we started on your Instagram. Considering you are no good at all the social media, lad, you're absolutely
Yeah.
smashing it now. Absolutely loving some of these videos, by the way. But where's been your favourite place so far? Then you're on your ninth country. What have you enjoyed
Yeah,
most so far?
I'd say Slovenia, and I think everyone knows that from my videos. The reason being, I didn't know much about it, and it's got all the beauty of, like, obviously it's got its own Alps, its own Julian Alps, its own mountain range. But obviously, a lot of people associate the Alps with like France and Switzerland,
Mm,
Italy, obviously. So then, yeah, coming into Slovenia, I didn't know much about it, and everywhere I cycled was just beauty. Like some days in Croatia, for instance, you might have an amazing day by the coast, but then cycle inland 30 minutes and it's a completely different story. It
mm.
seemed like in Croatia, every single day was amazing. Like I woke up every single day just happy there. I swear, like I just did.
Um,
Like as soon as I opened my tent, I was just like, wow, like this is incredible. Like I say on my videos, like it's not AI. Like
yeah,
we'll all do it. You'll see on Instagram, you'll see a video and you'll go to the comments and to find out whether it's AI or not. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
does it. And literally every day in Slovenia felt like that. And then
Mm,
obviously the cost of things helped. It was a lot less than Switzerland and whatnot in previous countries. So it was a lot more friendly on the budget. The
mm.
people were friendly. And it had the best bevy that I've had as well. Lasco. I've had comments. What's the favourite bevy?
Yeah, that's one of my questions here. That as well. So
Yeah,
Slovenia, the best beer.
one of their lagers is called Lasco, and that's what he enjoyed the most. Probably because he enjoyed the country that much as well. You know what I
Mm,
mean? If I really hated the country,
yeah.
I probably wouldn't enjoy the lager as much. You know what I mean? So it all kind of fitted in.
You said there about the people of Slovenia. In general, what are people like? So I know you've used an app a few times, haven't you? Where you can camp in people's gardens. I mean, what was that like the
Yeah,
first time messaging someone saying, can I camp in your garden?
yeah. There's an app called Welcome to My Garden, and it is just an app for bike tourists, for bike packers, and you stay for free. You don't need to pay anything. And I actually messaged a couple when I was back at home setting up one of these dates to camp. So my first night in the Netherlands, I was actually using this app, and I was at home, and he messaged me saying, "Hi Josh, what time will you be arriving?" Stuff like that, and I gave them a rough idea, and she said, "Will you be joining us for dinner?" And I was like, "Whoa!" Like something like that was normally out of my comfort zone. And straight away, I was going to message back an excuse on why I couldn't make it, because that's what I normally would have done. But then before this trip, I also told myself, like, to start saying yes to more stuff, just to get out of my comfort zone a bit more. So I've got off the ferry, I've rolled through the Netherlands, and I've turned up to this garden. The house was lovely, and I pitched my tent in the garden. And husband and wife, older couple, and they've done a bit of bike touring themselves. And yeah, I think I had like a 3-course meal, all home cooked. All the fruit and veg was from their garden, and that was my very first night when I on my trip. And I was just thinking, like from then on, I've just tried to say yes and just get involved and stuff, including this. Like, if I would have got invited onto this, probably my first week, I would have went, no, like it's not for me. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'm just trying to say yes to a lot more. I think it makes you grow as a person, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Getting out of your comfort zone. So
You know what, Josh? It's so good for you to hear. I think for people to hear you say that because people are watching your journey now and it looks amazing. I think people would maybe assume that you've always been this confident, yeah, say yes to everything person.
no,
I think for people to hear you say, look, it's a big thing for me to get outside my comfort zone and say yeah a bit more. Hopefully, give a lot of hope for other people as well.
yeah, I get a lot of people messaging me. They come across just regular lads like me back at home, and messaging me saying obviously they've seen me do it. I'm inspiring them, their words, and then they're asking me for like kit lists. What bike do they need? kit and
Brilliant.
equipment, so they can start their own journey. And I say to all of them, I say, go for it. I say, maybe don't do what I done. Don't jump straight into the deep end and go for 3 years. You know what I mean? I say, maybe do a couple of overnighters first and see how you get on. But yeah, I say to all of them, if you need any advice, I'm no expert, don't get me wrong, but I know the minimum to get going. And I say to them all, any time, send me a message, and if I'm not busy, I'll ring you or I'll FaceTime you, and I'll try and help you out as much as I can.
No, it's boss, lad. It's like you've already said, it's massively inspiring. You said there about you've had a great start, your first trip in Holland. The people are lovely, 3-course meal and all that.
Yeah.
Have you come across any people who have not been great? Anyone who's dampened your day a bit, or has it all been positive so far?
The Bosnian people were they were a bit cold. I wouldn't say they were rude. They weren't as welcoming as all the other countries that I've been to. I think obviously with what's happened in recent years in Bosnia probably contributes towards that. But I wouldn't say they were rude. They were just a bit less welcoming to tourists. But no, I've had good reactions from everyone, to be honest.
I'm just thinking, like, randomly when you just pitched up at the side of a road in like France or I don't know, Switzerland. I mean, what are people's general reactions to you when they get chatting to you and they find out what you're doing?
Yeah, obviously a lot of the time there's a language barrier, but one thing they do always understand is England and Istanbul. Normally when I say them 2 words, it clicks. Then you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then they look at me, they look at the bike, and they just can't understand it. But I only say Istanbul for the time being. I don't even mention the rest of my trip because the minds would just be blown how that's even possible. So I don't even mention it.
And with regards to when you're done your cycling for the day, you finding yourself like to go for a beer. I've seen you in kind of places that are a bit built up, so you're not just kind of sitting on your Todd in a field. You're exploring like the villages and towns you go into, etc.
Yeah. A lot of the time, obviously, I may cycle for a couple of days doing a wild camping, and then say there's a town that I want to visit. I'll sometimes get a cheap hostel or cheap accommodation somewhere where I can lock my bike up, and then just go explore. Then, as I said, it's a shame to cycle all this way and not actually be taking anything in. But yeah, so I see this as I'm using the bike to see places around the world. I'm not just on the bike just to clock, just to be clocking distance. But saying that, I've also got a little goal that I would like to achieve. That is to cycle 40,000 kilometers over the 3 years. Like 40,000 kilometers is the distance of the circumference of the Earth. So I just think that'll be pretty cool. You know what I mean? To say that's what you've done, because a lot of people go, I've cycled around the world, but like, what is cycling around the world? You know what I mean? So to say you've done that distance, it would be pretty cool. But that'll come. That'll come quite easily if I continue the way I am. That'll be achievable quite easy. That.
So what I'm hearing now is I've got about 2.5 years to make as much money from the motivational speaking until you start making your name for yourself, and then I've got no work. That's all I'm hearing, lads. So where are you again now? Sorry, what country are you in now? Croatia, is it?
Montenegro now.
Sorry. So if we look past Istanbul, I mean, and again, if it's all right with you, maybe we'll have to try and get you on every like kind of 6 weeks or something, mate, for updates, if that's okay. But
yeah.
It's such a kind of big challenge. I mean, how far are you looking ahead, like kind of country wise? I mean, it's literally the whole world you're planning on going. I mean, are you looking further than Istanbul? Is it or?
Yeah, I'll give you a little insight now into the next 6 months, say, and we'll just look that far ahead for now. I'll be flying out of Istanbul to Jordan, cycling south right through Jordan, crossing over into Saudi Arabia, right across the width of Saudi, maybe seeing Qatar, then going to the UAE, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and then into Oman then. And then I'll be flying. So all that will be a similar climate and landscape. There's going to be a lot of desert. That's going to be a whole different challenge from what I'm doing so far. Like now, I probably cycle 10, 20 kilometers, and there's a supermarket every 20 kilometers. When I get into the Middle East, I'm going to have to be a lot more prepared. I'm going to have to carry a lot more food, a lot more water, and potentially planning on not having a resupply for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Where here, I only go an hour without seeing a little, you know what I mean? And I'm in the bakery getting a donut. Like, I'm not gonna have that luxury when I'm in the Middle East. But mentally, I'm prepared for that, and I've been in those climates before, you know what I mean? So I know what to expect, but I'm looking forward to the challenge where I'm going to be on my own in the desert for long periods of time. So physically, I'm not bothered about it at all. Like that'll be fine. Like that's when it'll be a lot more of a mental challenge then.
I think the biggest challenge will be when you're in some of those dry countries and you can't have a bevy, like that'll be your biggest.
Exactly. Yeah. Also Saudi, because someone said there on my Instagram, what are you going to do in Saudi? Because it's a dry country. I said, pedal fast. I think people will see on my Strava, like now I might do up to 100 kilometers a day. In Saudi, I'll probably be clocking 200 a day. You know what I mean? I'll be rapid.
Oh, no, it's great, man. Have you spoke to any other like travellers along the way, like in your hostels and stuff like that?
Yeah, some. Obviously, I speak to a couple on Instagram at the moment who were doing a similar thing, doing similar routes. But as I said, we all have different, like,
Yeah.
we all have different goals. Like, there's some lads that might be doing double the distance of me because they don't want to be stopping off as much. Like, I might have a certain distance in mind in the morning, and then I might come across like a town or a lovely camp spot, and I think, you know what, like,
Yeah.
this will be me for the day. But yeah,
It makes me happy that you're doing it like that. 'Cause are they for you to be kind of like go just flying through countries that look great, but you're kind of thinking I'm on a time, I can't do it. So it's good to know that you are actually just
yeah,
playing it by ear.
enjoying it. Yeah, and that's always been the goal since the start, to be honest. And as I said, coming into the next couple of weeks, I might need to push a little bit more because I need to be in Turkey by the 1st of November. But yeah, but still, we'll try and factor everything in, so we're still enjoying the riding and taking stuff in.
Have you had I mean, what's the support been like back home? Have you had kind of, I don't know, friends or family? Because I've already had my mate Jockey from San Alpino saying like, when are we going to go and meet him? Like, have you had kind of people say, "Oh, I'll meet you here" and stuff like that? Have you? Or
Well, actually, obviously, it's Wednesday now. I've got a mate flying in to Montenegro tomorrow. So I'll put it out there on my video today that I'll probably be taking like 4 or 5 days off. So I'll warn people off not to worry, not to be sending out a search party for me. Like, I'm fine. I'll be in the boozer somewhere in Montenegro, just having a good break off social media, to be honest, and just having a good holiday, a proper rest. Because for the last 8.5 weeks, I've taken days off here and there, but taking 24 hours off after doing all that cycling, it just isn't enough really to recover. So from tomorrow, I'll be taking a good 4 or 5 days off, which will be nice. And I'll have a good reset then before I push on towards Turkey.
yeah. Mate, I know you like yeah. Well, we've been nearly doing an hour and a half now, mate. I won't keep you much longer.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think of. I mean, there's so much I want to ask you. Mate, first, I just want to say what an inspiration you are, mate. And I think having similar backgrounds, you know, growing up in, you know, probably not too similar childhoods and what we went through, I think, and all that, mate. It's so great to see, you know, someone doing so well, mate. And I
yeah,
just think
thanks.
you're a massive shining light to veterans as well, mate. People who've, you know, serve the country, but then actually, you know, going on and doing something else amazing, mate. So you're a massive inspiration. I just want to get that out there.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you.
Mate, some of the things you've done, some of the you'll have to remind me of the past where you were driving on your you were riding and the traffic was horrendous going through that tunnel. Was it Gates Pass or something? Was it?
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
some of just
that was in Italy.
if you just
I
talk us through some of the kind of sketchier times of cycling.
Yeah, that was in Italy. There was I think it was nearly a 5 kilometer tunnel, but it was all uphill, and the path that I was cycling on was probably less than a metre wide. And there was no sign saying that I shouldn't be in there, but I still don't know whether I was meant to be. But, and then I got halfway through and I was thinking, I just need to keep going regardless. I can't like imagine like the Mersey Tunnel. You can't just run across. I thought I need to keep going regardless. I thought once I get through, it'll be sound. And then I've managed to get through sweating. And then I've checked my Garmin, my cycle computer, and it said that I needed to stay on this main road for another 19 kilometres. But it was pretty much a single lane motorway. It was a 70 kilometre speed limit, and the old me probably would have thought, just do it, just crack on. You know what I mean? You can't turn back. But then I thought, I'm probably only 4 weeks into this trip. It's stupid for me to risk it. You know what I mean? This early on. So I made the call to turn back, and I didn't go to the Dolomites then. But I ended up putting something on my Instagram explaining why I turned back, and there was actually he was a cycle, like a tour guide from the Dolomites, and he messaged me saying you made the right call there, mate. You were about to go onto this really dangerous road, and you had no business being on it. So I think that's where I just trusted my gut, and I was made up when he messaged me, to be honest, because I was thinking, am I being a bit of a shit house? Like, you have that feeling, don't you? Are people gonna think I'm a shit house? And then I got that message off the cycle guide from the Dolomites, and he said to me, "No, you made the right call there." So it just gave me a bit of peace of mind then. But
just on that note, mate, have you found that and like you say, you're only 6 weeks in type thing, but have you found that you've learned anything about yourself that you didn't know yet?
Yeah, like as I said, I've done a lot of stuff alone in the past, and the reason why I like doing stuff alone is, I think a lot of the time you truly don't know who you are as an individual until you are put in certain situations being alone. Because I get into certain situations and testing situations out here where I'm physically and mentally drained. I might get taken down the wrong path, and then I haven't got no one to bail me out. It's all up to me to stay calm and make the right call. And I like that, to be honest, because I think that's when you know it. That's when you learn a lot about yourself, and you start to understand who you really are as an individual.
It's powerful at me, yeah. I mean, I always say as well, one of the lines, and you will have seen it firsthand in the Paras in Afghan. I say, like, it's very easy to stay positive when everything's going well, but the real test of character and the real test of a team is how you all react when things aren't going so well. So
Yeah,
I love the fact that you're there, putting yourself out there in these scary situations, and it's almost like saying, like, how am I going to react? It's putting the pressure on yourself. So again, mate, massively inspiring as well.
yeah. That's me. There's been in some situations more where camping situations where people turn up during the night, and I think I'm just so vulnerable. I'm on my own. It's me. I'm on my own. My tent set up. I've got all my kit and equipment is all unpacked. I'm not going anywhere fast.
Yeah.
Like if a group of lads turn up and they've all had a drink and they want to start kicking off, that puts me in a very vulnerable situation when probably there'll be a language barrier and whatnot. So there's always that like fight or flight, and I think that there is no flight because I've got all this gear, so I'm gonna have to just try and make it work. You know what I mean? And try and, but so far it's been all right.
It is funny, mate, to think that that natural anxiety that you get of if you're waking up in a field. I remember seeing a video where you basically found some like hut that was like almost like a lookout post, and you went camped in there. I mean, I just can't imagine you waking up to someone in the morning saying, like, who are you type thing.
Yeah, like it's something. Do you know what? With wild camping, I'll always try and pitch my tent just as it's going dark, and I'm always out of there just after sunrise, to be honest. So there is a lot of thinking that goes behind it. Or equally, my first day in Croatia, I got excited after seeing the sea. I hadn't seen it for 6 weeks or something, and I went straight to the shop, grabbed a couple of cans, and there was a little pebble beach that I was sunbathing on during the day. So I thought, I can't get my tent up yet, it's too early. So then I moved into the bar behind it, and I think I had a good 4 or 5 pints. But when you're cycling all day and you're dehydrated, the pints hit you a lot harder. And then I've ended up setting up on this pebble beach, bladdered, and there was like pretty much a rave going on down the road, and like the rave must have threw out, and everyone's come out of the rave and been on this beach, and I'm asleep in the tent just thinking, oh wow, I hope these leave, and they must have seen me and then just left, and I was thinking, thank God, like what am I gonna do?
Yeah. Mate, what's been the most memorable thing then so far? The thing that's stuck with you already?
I think going over the Alps, because the day that I went over the Alps, I didn't see any other bike tourists going over. And obviously, I am a heavy setup anyway, 50 kilos. And as we've said, I don't come from a cycling background. I'm not a cyclist. So it was mostly cyclists on like the carbon fiber bikes, all the gear, you know what I mean? Who look like superheroes compared to me. So yeah, it took 2 days to get over the pass, Goddard's Pass. And then, yeah, when I got on top of there, that was like a big achievement then, you know what I mean? And then I thought, because that was within the first like 3-4 weeks maybe, and then I thought like, this is it now, you know what I mean? We're getting into it. Yeah, so I think going over the Alps sticks out.
Yeah. No, mate, some of the pictures and videos you put on, mate, have been incredible. Just trying to make sure I do this justice, mate, and try and ask all the questions people want me to ask you. Is there a kind of goal to the end where you want to do, you said you're 40,000, but I mean, is there kind of rules where you're thinking, let's say you get to Australia and you go, wow, do you know what, I want to do 6 weeks here and not do none because I just want to live on Bondi Beach for 6 weeks type thing. Are you going to give yourself that kind of flexibility, or are you just going to, go till you hit the 40,000?
No, like my goal from the start has always been to enjoy it. That's rule number one. And I've always said, I've kind of planned for 3 years. Equally, I might do a year or 2 years and be content and be happy with it and go, do you know what? I'm happy with what I've done. I'm not enjoying this anymore. Like that'll do me. Or on the other side, after the 3 years, I can if I want carry on. So I might do another 3 years. Like my goal is just to just try and enjoy every day. And then if it ever comes to a point where I'm not enjoying it, like we'll pack it in. Like I've got nothing to prove to anybody. Like as I said, I just want to enjoy it as much as I can. So if we ever get to that point where we're not enjoying it, we'll either take a long break and think about what we're gonna do, or we'll just go on to something else. I'm very flexible.
Lad, you'd be some super influencer by them, lad, who's getting paid loads of money to bike sponsorships and all kinds, lads.
No.
Nah. Mate, I just want to thank you so much, mate, for your time. It's you really are a true inspiration, mate, as a Scouser and also a veteran. I think you're doing a lot for both. It's great for you. It's honestly, mate, first time I've seen it, whether you're a week in, I just thought, I'm gonna have to kind of try and get to know this lad and fanboy him all I can, because I wish I had the balls to do it, mate. It's amazing. I'm sure loads of people wish they had your confidence and jumping outside your comfort zone and pushing yourself, as it's proper inspiring, mate. I just hope you don't forget about me in 6 weeks when I try and get you on again. You've been on Joe Rogan's or something like that. You have to still remember me.
He's ringing me now, actually, as we speak. No. Yeah, thanks for having a chat. Obviously, as I said, probably at the start of my journey, I wouldn't have done anything like this. So I'm just obviously trying to open up a bit more and just say yes to a lot more people within reason. And yeah, obviously it just gives people more of an understanding about myself. Obviously, they probably know me a little bit better now, a bit about my background and what's led me to do the cycling stuff. So yeah, thanks, mate.
Yeah, you're obviously, made very strong mentally. I mean, you've been through, so I think there's a lot of people now will probably be understanding when they see you, in a bit of a sketchy camping situation. They're probably thinking, yeah, he knows what he's doing now. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, Josh, anything else you want to finish on, mate? Anything else to touch upon that I've maybe not asked you, or any other last messages, or?
No, just for obviously, I'd like to say to everyone, thanks for all the support. I get a lot of personal messages, a lot of deep messages, and people put a lot of trust in me just from what they've seen online. And as I've said, I'll always try my best to reply to everyone. But if I obviously don't get disheartened, I'll, but just to everyone back at home, the support doesn't go unrecognised, and thanks a lot for it.
No, boss, Josh, again, I think you've got everyone following closely, mate, and everyone wants to kind of live the life through you, mate. So just keep staying safe and keep entertaining us, mate. It's been a real pleasure. And like I say, hopefully do it again in a few weeks and get a bit more of an update on where you are.
Definitely, we'll stay in touch, and the updates will be good.
I think I might wait until you get to a country I've not been to yet, and then suddenly jump a flight and come and meet you for a beer or something. I might wait for you to get to Australia or something. Maybe I've not been there.
That's it, yeah. Not Saudi.
No,
Skip
I give that a miss. Right, Josh, take care, mate. I'll see you soon.
Thanks a lot.
See you, mate.
Thank you.